Hello everybody, welcome back to HBM mod. Last episode we did some stuff and things, so I think we're looking pretty good right now. Well, energy's been a big issue, I keep talking about it, but we're getting our energy up pretty quickly. Giga HEs, pretty nice. Anyway, I think we're ready to start our next batch of particle accelerating, which I think it's time to do. I'm not gonna spend 6 years making energy and then not use that energy. Now, anti-HBM to make dark matter requires circular accelerator, which requires 2 anti-HBM. Do not throw this on the ground, bad stuff could happen. Ready. Firing. Very terrifying moment. If it runs out of power, explodification is guaranteed. Perfect. Dark matter capsule. And let's go ahead and check those energy reserves. They're definitely depleted. So much energy, dude, is going into the drain. The drain pipe, the sewage pipe. Well, no worry, because next up, I have muon and dark matter. Or no. Oh, it's a strange quark. And what can it do inside is basically it. So, strange quark is made using these two inside a 100,000 particle accelerator, which we are able to achieve 13360, which is more than enough. In fact, it's ludicrously too much. The energy consumption is ridiculous on this thing. I showed up my watch reactor setup last episode for the actual redstone stuff. If you're interested in seeing that, that's pretty interesting, I know, right? You should go check it out if you're interested in trying to do redstone stuff. I actually didn't explain it too good. I don't think. I explained it in the simple way. If you want the complex explanation, I guess I can do that today. Basically, this comparator goes all the way out here. Once it gets all the way to max, turns off this one, and it increments down this line, right? So as each of them get filled up, each of these will turn off, and eventually, once all of these are turned off, and this is an instant repeater, it's a repeater but better, because if you use a regular repeater, there's a chance that you add a tick delay, and I don't like that, so I just use instant repeaters because it's the way to do things. Because repeaters, why should I add extra delay to my system when I can have it instant? Oh, you didn't expect that one. Anyway, so by the point that all of these are about to turn off, this guy is also turned off because, well, this guy's the opposite. This guy checks to see whether this guy's empty. And if this guy is empty, he sends out a signal to here, which basically locks the system, preventing any weird stuff from happening, but also it is weird stuff that's happening because it's not meant to lock the system. But anyway, it works out in the end because by the end, once that guy is starting to fill up enough, like just barely enough, this guy will turn off and then this guy will be unlocked. And then once this guy gets too full, then this guy turns on. And then this pulse extender fires. And what this causes is for this to switch over to here. And this is a flip-flop or T flip-flop. It's used for storing different data and stuff on, things that have happened. So you use a pulse shortener for this, and then fire into this. There's other ways of storing data, but that's one way you can store whether or not this thing has activated. It basically turns a button into a switch. The reason we need the T flip-flop there is because without the T flip-flop, it allows this thing to go back and forth. Like if we just used the redstone output from all of them, then it wouldn't empty them all the way, which is what I want. I want the tanks to be fully empty before we do the next run of the reactor, if we're running on hot fuel. So that's how that's gonna work, right? It's gonna go up to here, open this up, shut off the reactor, and activate the siren all at the same time, so that way I know bad stuff's probably gonna happen, maybe, or could happen. It's just a nice thing to know. So that is the actual setup for my, what is it called? The watch reactor. That is how I know when the watch reactor is going to explode or not. That's how I know when the watch reactor needs my help to not explode again and cause issues. It is very important that I keep track of these things because, you know, it's kind of wasteful to run your fusion reactor 24/7, much like it is kind of wasteful to blow up your watch reactor. So, basically, the big wait here is just getting energy back up before the next round of production. I could make extrapolate capacitors, but we're trying to get to the spark singularity and all of the spark stuff, which I'll go ahead and show you what the spark energy cube looks like. There's only two things we cannot make right now. That is smart blend, but these a whole lot of baloney, but we're close to being able to make it. This is the most expensive part of the Spark Arcane battery, and I guess what we should have been doing this entire time is probably cooking out some of that CMB steel. Let's go ahead and get started making some CMB steel. We got the stuff we need for the next batch of stuff, which is terrifying because, I mean, it costs so much energy. But I think we should focus on making some of that CMB steel now, shouldn't we? Let's go ahead and see about it. Let's get a recipe for this thing because I don't even know what it's going to cost. CMB steel. Because I know this stuff is going to become important soon. Check the cost on this. So, magnetized tungsten and poisonous mud. I mean, it could be worse. Right. Combined steel. It's time to make some combined steel. Here's some 5 of these boron absorber pellets. They make cobalt 60, which is, I mean, it's okay. It's not really useful or anything. I need to set up radiolysis or something at some point. I feel like that'd be a good idea. Maybe a new oil setup. Yeah, you can see all the stuff I've made here. Loads of nuclear waste, bismuth, plutonium-241. All kinds of stuff I'm going to be making use of pretty soon. These white mud bricks or whatever, these are going to be turned into CMB steel. Now, how on earth, how the heck does one make CMB steel? Well, it's quite simple. Grab some magnetized tungsten and laugh. Trust me, the laughing part's super important. Otherwise, you won't make any CMB steel. Well, one problem, one severe issue, fellas, is we are running out of tungsten, which is good. Is becoming an issue very rapidly. The tungsten depletionification is a problem. We are running out of tungsten. We used to have an iron crate of tungsten. Now we are merely just a husk of our former selves. We have nothing but what? 5 stacks of tungsten. This is a crisis. In times of need. Crap, what kind of movie are we going on to? What the heck is this? What? This is literally like the plot for some kind of movie, dude. Like some superhero movie. Who's the superhero who's going to save us from the tungsten? The tungsten calamity. Crisis. If you're from one of those movie trailer companies, you can hire me for your voice acting. You're welcome. Actually, yeah. Just email me. And I'll totally do your movie trailer. Voice it. Yeah. What, you need some deep voice for it? Okay, perfect. I'm the guy for the job. You can trust me to save you from the tungsten calamity. Need your movie voiced? Your movie trailer voiced? Well, you can hire me. 'Cause why not? Cobalt 60. Cobalt 60. Yeah. Cobalt 60. Dang. What am I doing? Focus. Stop with the movie trailer, dude. Movie trailer not needed. Skibidium 4. In desperate times. Sorry, nobody gave me a script. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Skibidium 4. Okay, so you see we're producing magnetized tungsten, this beautiful striped ingot. But you know what I say to this? I say, get cooked. Oh, wait, what? Okay, it's going to be 6 of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're right, it's 6 to 3. Oh, wait, no, it's 12 to 6. Dang. Are you cooking correctly? Good. And that is some CMB steel if I've ever seen some. Take a look at that. Oh my gosh. Ferro-uranium. Ferrarium. Ferrarier. Man, there was a video that I watched one time. Insert civil protection reference here. Yeah. Well, I mean, see, okay. So there was back in the day, they used to have these what are they called? Like a film that explains what you're supposed to do when somebody drops a bunch of nuclear devices on your head, right? So they used to have those because apparently people were scared of that, which I mean makes kind of sense. It's kind of confusing, but basically they were afraid of that, so they made these films, and they were civil protection films. Like there's the one with the tortoise, and yeah, that's funny. But here's what the big thing was. There was one that was like, I can't even remember what it was called, but it was like called like Uncle Bob or something builds a fallout shelter or something, and it's literally just a 20-minute video of this guy. He's placing down cinder blocks, but they're special civil defense cinder blocks or whatever, so you know they've got some magic chicanery inside of them to prevent the radiation from getting inside. Man, that was just the video, wasn't it? But you could probably find it on YouTube. I don't remember what it was called. I don't remember the guy's name. But this, and it's in black and white, so it's like old. Like it's like old. It looks old. But like it literally goes over how to literally build a fallout shelter in your basement. What the heck? And I bet some houses, like some older houses, still probably have some stuff like that in their basements. Something people probably would have done because of how terrified they were of the world just coming to an end. The thing is that if the world decides to destroy itself with nuclear bombs, it doesn't matter if you survive inside of a fallout shelter, because the next 6 months you're not going to be able to grow crops from all of the burnt trees that produced a bunch of smoke. Because, believe it or not, nuclear bombs set the entire planet on fire, kind of. Well, forest on fire, not the entire planet. You can't set dirt on fire, it just doesn't make sense. But, when there's... Basically, when an entire forest burns down, it produces a lot of smoke. If all of the world's forests were burnt down, say by a nuclear bomb, then that causes basically the entire world's trees to turn into smog, covering, well, most of the trees. I'm not going to say all of the trees, but it will cover the entire atmosphere in clouds for a very long time. Clouds of smoke. And it's estimated, or was estimated in a certain video called 8 Hours Later, that basically the actual nuclear winter, as it is called, which is the smoke being in the air and blocking out the sun, would cause all of our plants to not be able to farm for like a very long time. So that would basically cause the end of the world, just by the fact that it would probably kill off most of the people on the planet. Like, I'm sure like a few people would survive. There's so many of us on this planet that, I mean, if we nuked ourselves right now, there would definitely be at least probably the population would probably go down to like 1 million. Honestly, I think that's like a good guess. Probably maybe somewhere between 1 million and like 100 million. Just from Well, that's not even from the bombs. It's like the total afterwards is what I think would be. I don't know. There is no way to know. But let's just say it would be really bad. But yeah, for like 6 months you would not be able to grow crops. The immediate aftermath is like a couple weeks of, just radiation, falling from the sky. That's fine. But for 6 months, not being able to grow crops, that's a bit of an issue. Then there's also the fact that, if a nuclear bomb was to hit like an industrial center, that causes a bit of an issue because then all of the industrial center has its waste being leaked out. And that can cause even more issues because, nobody's gonna be taking care of all of the chemical waste and things that we've already produced if there's nobody to take care of them because the world ends. Which, that's a severe issue, because then you have all kinds of toxic things just being leaked out everywhere. Well, probably not everywhere. I'm sure there would be some places that are fine, but in a lot of cities and industrial settings and places like that, there would be a lot of problems with, toxic chemicals just being leaked out from, like trucks and stuff that carry like. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's safer than that, but I definitely think you're not going to see a truck in a city that's carrying, like, sulfuric acid or something in it, but I don't know. I don't even think they ship sulfuric acid in trucks, honestly. It would be a problem if you're near, like, a factory or something like that, because all the factories would start to leak, probably, if they take enough damage. It depends. It would probably not be as significant as a problem as the fact that you can't grow food for 6 months, which is the biggest issue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. I think I got enough for. Actually, I could probably do 12. Yeah. So essentially, it would cause a lot of the big issues. Is the fact that there's no maintenance going on at those factories and different industrial setups, and you need people to maintain those. Otherwise, bad things can happen. Another thing would be probably illness. It would probably spread like wildfire due to the lack of, shelter and stuff like that. But, I mean, considering, these are things that are like, why I think only probably around 1 million people would survive. The lack of clean water and stuff like that would become an issue. Unless, smart people live and then they manage to do that. I mean, there would also be the potential for a loss of information. Because of such a big disaster. And why is that important? Why would losing information? Well, basically, we'd be sent back to Stone Age. That's another part of the idea is that if we destroy ourselves, then the next war after would be we're fighting with sticks and stones like cavemen again. Which I mean, that's a pretty good point, pretty reasonable. But it's not because we're going to lose information, although I think that we could lose information from that, and that would be very, information's important. Not something you want to be losing, dude. Like, not everybody on planet Earth knows how to make clean water, okay? Not everybody knows everything. If everybody knew everything, then we'd probably be on Mars by now. But, that's just not how that works. And if you destructicate the entire planet, then you end up with a lack of people who know stuff, and that leads to some big issues. Because it would make doctors and things very valuable. Like, if you have, like, 1 or 2 doctors left, well, I mean, there'd be more than that, but, like, if there's 1 doctor every, 1,000 miles, then, well, you're in a bit of an issue now, aren't you? Because not everybody can do surgery or stuff like that. Only doctors can. I mean, I'm sure some people can. I mean, but still, you need somebody with skills. That's what I'm trying to say. There's another issue with the idea of the end of the world. If people think the world is going to end, then they will act rash. This is a very interesting thing. Because everybody will go to stores, buy all the stuff, and then, well, they'll go hide in their bunkers, probably end up dying eventually from all of that. It's just kind of grim, but I mean, that's just what's gonna happen. That means that there's gonna be nothing probably left in stores, and if there is, then afterwards, I mean, it's gonna be scarce and probably completely just not even edible or anything. Which is why we would need to grow crops. But the problem is, remember, you won't be able to grow crops for like a few months afterwards at least. And yeah, you could scavenge for like the stuff. The most optimal outcome would be for just to survive the next 6 months after an apocalypse, right? The best way to go about that would probably be to first stay in a bunker. Second, have all the stuff you need before everybody else goes crazy. Third, survive more than 6 months in that bunker. Fourth, um, make sure that you have some way to grow crops because you'll need that. And a seed bank is the most optimal idea. And remember that if the world does end, then yeah, it's the end of the world. So I mean, sucks to suck. But the thing that most people overlook is the fact of nuclear winter, where you're not able to grow crops. And I mean, I've heard it can make it cold, but I don't really care. I don't honestly think it doesn't matter if it's cold. You can survive the cold. You can't survive not having food. That's not how that works, because everything needs energy to live. But that brings another point. Maybe it is potentially possible to survive by using electricity to using electricity to make yourself live, without to do all the cellular functions that you need to do to live. Is that even possible? Well, that's an interesting question, but I don't have an answer to that because I don't know biology, except I know a little bit, and I know that you need your cells to divide and do stuff, and you also need your cells to do stuff. And that's basically it. And Krebs cycle. Anyway, we're gonna shove in muon capsule, dark matter capsule. Yes, run this. Is this circular mode? Yeah, I think it is. Dineutronium plate. Dineutronium sparticle. We're trying to make sparticle? Strange quark? Circular mode. Fire! I'm scared, dudes. I'm really scared. Hey! Hey, let's go.